Continuing to search for sources of interest in scholarly databases, this week's assignment focused on two, Oxford Academic and Project Muse. My dissertation topic is Bob Jones University, a fundamentalist evangelical institution, and its collection of religious art, much of it Catholic in origin. My search returned several sources, one that surprised me, one that I had previously used in my thesis, and one that I had seen before but not used. The source that surprised me is one that all of you are familiar with, Adam Latt's Fundamentalist U, published in 2018 by Oxford University Press. One of this week's assigned readings, Chapter 4, I Came to Be Went With, in part discusses how Bob Jones University was unique among evangelical institutions in offering mandatory extracurricular art programs. These programs were criticized by Oliver Buswell, former president of Wheaton College, and by parents of students as well. Latz correctly concludes that the Joneses were not affected by this criticism at all and forged ahead with their programs. The endnotes for this chapter revealed items held in the Bob Jones University archives that will be useful in my research. The source that I had used before is the excellent Buying Baroque, Italian 17th Century Paintings Come to America, published in 2017 by the Pennsylvania State University Press and edited by Edgar Peters Bowron. Chapter 8, written by longtime art critic Ian Kennedy, is titled The Bob Jones University Collection of Italian Baroque Paintings. In this chapter, Kennedy asked the question why a fundamentalist preacher and educator should have been attracted by so many Catholic works of art. In his answer, Kennedy rightly points out that a basic tenet of Protestant fundamentalism is faithful interpretation of Scripture, and that these religious paintings illustrate biblical texts. Kennedy's description of the art collection, along with full-color photographs, concludes with a statement, and I quote, "There are few places in America where old master paintings can be enjoyed in an ambience so sympathetic to their original use and purpose." The source that I had previously passed over, When Art Disrupts Religion, Aesthetic Experience and the Evangelical Mind by Philip S. Francis, published in 2017 by Oxford University Press, surveyed former students of the Oregon Extension, a retreat-type semester program near Ashland, Oregon, with its focus on literature, and a Bob Jones University School of Fine Arts, concerning the ways in which exposure to the arts had affected their religious beliefs. Francis reported that he received hundreds of responses, and of these selected 82 for his study. He concluded that after exposure to the arts, almost all participants were no longer certain of their beliefs, and many of them did not choose to return to their faith as practiced beforehand. There were obvious problems with this study and its conclusions, but for purposes here, I will mention that the author had once been a fundamentalist evangelical, and after his own personal encounter with art, discovering his parents' hidden Bob Dylan record collection in the attic, he had questioned his faith and yet had gone on to earn a PhD at Harvard Divinity School. This information was included in the afterwards section of the book. In my dissertation, only those problems that are directly associated with Bob Jones University's collection of religious art, and not those of the university itself, nor those of the Jones family, will be discussed. Therefore, despite the flaws in this last source, it does add credence to my conclusion that any so-called problems with the Bob Jones University collection of religious art were not really problems at all.